Welcome back to the new Sentinel, everybody. Chukwuka here, joined by Sentinel Graves, Olga, and Duke. We've tackled some serious scenes on this show before, but today I want to dig into something that stuck with me for a while. Unsolved violent crime, especially after reading up on the Dadrian Raymond Brown case out in Tucson. A 15-year-old gunned down after a house party, and basically, no answers, no closure. It's not just a tragedy. It's a revelation of how these unsolved cases can eat away at community trust. People feel like, if they can't find justice for that kid, then who's safe?
Yeah, I gotta say, Chukwuka, that case, it reminds me a lot of other neighborhoods I've worked in as a police captain. When you got a murder like Dadrian's hanging in the air and the cops seem like they're coming up empty, you lose folks. They just stop believing the system's there for them. Backlog after backlog, Tucson's database is packed, and it ain't just about statistics. It's about people losing faith. What was the number? Was it, 20 unsolved violent incidents just this summer? It's rough.
You know, Ethan, the suffering isn't just statistical, it's personal. Every unsolved case is a family, a neighborhood, living with that trauma, and yes, the distrust of authority. I grew up in a system where transparency wasn't even on the table, but at least here, communities are speaking out. Chukwuka, can you talk about that Houston meeting you mentioned before we started recording? You said it got heated?
Yeah, so, last year, a kid got shot in my old neighborhood in Houston. The whole community came together, and let me tell you, it was intense. But something real happened. Folks weren't just blaming. They demanded accountability, transparency, cold case funding, patrol changes. You could feel them saying, "Don't just tell us you care, show us." That's what Tucson needs, really. And when you look at Memphis, look, I'm not saying they're perfect, but their focus on high-risk offenders, the numbers speak. 16% drop in aggravated assaults, 8% drop in domestic violence. That's not just luck, that's strategy. And it's something worth learning from.
Roger that, Chukwuka. Memphis took the fight to the problem. Targeted enforcement, data-driven. That's the operational sweet spot to me. With Tucson? I don't know. Backlog is a morale killer. No closure, no deterrent effect. It's like, why bother reporting? That attitude's dangerous. When communities push back, demand more, that's when the system starts to flex. But if you leave them spinning, the distrust turns to anger. Seen it on deployments. Same psychology, different uniforms.
It's the same everywhere, the need for justice and a sense that the system isn't just ignoring the vulnerable. If there is one lesson from Tucson and Memphis, it's that engagement matters. Community pressure doesn't fix things overnight, but it creates leverage. People need to feel like their voices carry weight, otherwise they just tune out.
Yeah, Olga, agreed. The lesson? Don't let unsolved cases go unspoken. That's on us too. Keep the story in the public eye. Keep asking questions.
Moving along, that idea of systems struggling to keep up, man, that's true in tech too. I've been tracking this HC Robotics court case. So, for folks who haven't seen it, Federal Circuit just ruled against them. Patent fight over their automated storage thing, the Omnisort Gen 2, right? Basically, it means even the robots aren't safe. If you're innovating in warehouse automation, this ruling says, watch out. Your big idea might already belong to someone else.
Nailed it, Sentinel. Laws lagging tech by about 2 decades. These patent disputes just gum up the engine. Small companies get smoked by litigation. Also slows down big players. That's going to hit logistics, AI, anyone pushing automation. I'd say, unless the courts figure out a more modern approach, America's edge starts to look rusty.
It's not just America, Duke. I spoke with a Russian founder last month who's fighting to protect her startup's code. Same story, different country. The legal landscape just isn't designed for rapid innovation. Once maybe, but now it's global. Losing a patent case can freeze a company's momentum, which is why these judicial decisions set precedents far outside courtroom walls. And look at the NBA v. Salazar case. If the Supreme Court sides with the plaintiffs, it could force sports media to change how they use biometric and viewing data. That'll influence not just the NBA, but how every platform treats consumer privacy.
And that's a reminder. Digital privacy is evolving. We had that episode on Muskonomics, talking AI and consolidation, but this court talk is about the basic rights behind the tech. When people opt in to watch a game, should their data go to Meta or any giant without explicit consent? That's the question. This Supreme Court review, NBA versus Salazar, could rewrite the playbook. I'm not just talking sports either, but all media, all tech. You agree, yeah?
I do, Chukwuka. I figure whatever comes out of this will ripple for everyone from startups to blue-chip tech. Plus, keeps the legal folks busy for the next 10 years, which some might say ain't a bad thing, but for the rest of us, the risk is that these cases just increase complexity, not clarity. The world doesn't stop so everybody can read the fine print.
Yup. For my money, it's about keeping the bureaucracy off my six. Innovators need daylight, not red tape. But, gotta admit, lines have to be drawn to stop the creeps and the cheats. Court's got a hell of a job, and they're behind the power curve. Time to catch up.
And I want to stress, regulation isn't the enemy of innovation. It's the thing that makes sure ordinary people aren't just data points at the mercy of corporate giants. There has to be protection and fairness as the tech wave rolls on. Lessons from both sides of the Atlantic, honestly. With all these changes in tech and justice, there's an even bigger conversation happening in the courts about who gets included and how we define fairness. Title IX battles, Little v. Haycox and West Virginia versus BPJ. These cases put the rights of transgender student athletes in the spotlight. The Supreme Court is digging into whether these state laws barring trans girls from girls' teams violate equal protection. And the country's divided about safety, about inclusion, about what fairness means. Every family with a child in school will be watching for rulings that might rewrite how America handles gender and sports.
Couldn't agree more, Olga. I sat in on a family law hearing back home. Y'all, what struck me wasn't the politics, but the pain. Folks just wanted resolution. This wasn't about the headlines. It was about their kid, their custody schedule, but sometimes the judge pushed for family therapy before making a call. Turns out when you give families real tools like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, hostility drops, cooperation goes up. Saw dad and mom leave court actually talking, first time in months. It's that kind of thing that can quietly change a community.
That's a fact. Too often, divorce court is just another battlefield. But bringing in therapy reduces friction, helps the mission. Families don't just survive, sometimes they thrive. I saw a peer get custody, decided not on who yelled loudest, but who worked hardest at self-improvement. That's what we need in the system, real resilience.
Yeah, Duke, you're spot on. We saw these data points from that recent Journal of Family Psychology study. They say CBT and structural therapy make a big difference for people going through divorce. Not just another workaround, but something that actually makes people healthier. Could be a model, as family law evolves. We've talked a lot about civic trust breaking down in criminal cases, and maybe this is a spot where the system's building something back up, slow as it is.
And it all circles back. When law grounds itself in real-world outcomes, whether it's justice for a family or dignity for a transgender student, society gets stronger. The legal system isn't perfect, but keeping these reforms center stage gives hope for progress, even with all the polarization we see out there.
That's right. There are always new battles ahead, new tech challenges, new rights fights. But I reckon we gotta keep folks informed and engaged, just like we did today. Where did the time go, huh?
We'll wrap it up there for now. Thanks for listening, everyone. Whatever side of the justice debate you're on, stick with us because these stories aren't finished. Olga, Duke, Sentinel, pleasure as always. Say goodbye, team.
Thank you all. Keep listening, keep questioning. Until next time.
Roger that. Stay sharp out there. Catch y'all on the next op.
Y'all be safe. Keep thinking. Sentinel out.